Talofa lava, warm Pacific greetings and welcome to another episode of Pacifically Correct. Today I want to tackle a particular topic that's dear to the heart of Pasifika and especially dear to my heart, and it's about eating. Yep, don't panic team, it's not about a weight loss program, but more about what the family can benefit and gain from sitting around eating correctly. So there was some research done in 2018 and some kids were surveyed, and it shows that 96% of the children that were surveyed really enjoyed chatting with their parents at dinner. 79% wanted more opportunities to sit in dinner and speak. So it's obvious in the hearts of our young people, they like it. So there's two things in particular that I want to point out, specifically Pacific when it comes to us passing on our heritage and our family history. Okay, first, when we allow our kids to speak and talk at the table, two things happen. One, we're able to pick up on what's on their heart, what's going on in their mind, some stuff they may be pushing through quietly or silently, which could be their kids, friends are hungry, or they're being mean, or they've got an issue. Secondly, that maybe the teacher hates them, or they're struggling, being bullied at school, or thirdly, that uncle's touching them in an interesting way. Important to take note of those sorts of things, and then we can get into some action after. Now I know kids tend to talk a lot, and sometimes their stories run one into the other with no ending. They don't breathe between stories, and it's important that they're getting smarter that way. We as parents, grandparents, guardians, we should sensitively coach them about how to talk and how to let others talk. It's a good thing, all right? And if you don't let them talk, what actually happens is by the time they get to school and the teacher says to them, "Oh, and what's your name? Oh, and what do you do in your spare time? Oh, Nicholas, can you think of a word that starts with the letter F? Spelling? Oh, English second language for you," right? So it's important, allow our kids to practice. Now, the second reason is because it's an excellent golden opportunity for us parents to pass on our heritage and our family history. Really important that we pass it on, and this, I believe, is the appropriate time. So how do we do it? Well, I'll explain to you how I did it with my family. At the dinner, I wait until the right moment, just normally when the dinner's nearly finished, and then I would bring up a topic. I'd say, "Hey, girls, did I ever tell you about the time Granddad arrived from Samoa and came to Auckland, how he didn't eat for a few days?" And I'd look at them and they have that curious, excited smile. They go, "No, Dad, tell us." So I go on to explain the story. Well, one day his uncle dropped him off at a boarding house in Ponsonby and said, "Don't go anywhere and I'll be back." That particular uncle went off, got drunk and didn't come back for a whole week. My dad, in the meantime, was in his boarding room. He didn't know what to do and he was hungry. He was waiting for the palangis that run the boarding house to invite him for breakfast, for lunch or for dinner, but they never did because they weren't meant to. Well, on the second day where he hadn't eaten anything, it was just coming to the end of the evening, and it just so happened that two whawhawhengas were living at the boarding house as well. And when they returned home and saw him for the first time, one of them looked and went, "Mange le tama," and tried to hit on my dad. And my dad explained that he was Samoan and could understand what they were saying. They had a big laugh. But then he went on to say, "Hey, when are people going to eat? When do they call us?" And the whawhawhenga said, "Listen, this is not how it works in New Zealand." And they went on to explain how the boarding house ran. And because he had no money, they took him up the road and they bought him some dinner. His first meal in Auckland was fish and chips. That's the history. That's how Polisi Nick Tuitasi had his first meal in Auckland. And the kids love that stuff. Why do they love that stuff? Because stories are in our blood. For thousands of years, we've passed down our history from generation to generation, all by word of mouth. And when there was something significant in our history that we had to remember, we'd literally create a song and dance. Team, so important that we keep our culture alive, use the dinner table as an opportunity to pass it on. Don't wait for the events that we have, the weddings, the funerals, the birthdays, and then try to teach your children the culture when you're telling them off in front of everybody else. It just doesn't work. Sit them around, explain to them why, and they will appreciate it. Now, if you've forgotten everything that I've said, I want to summarize it in the 3 Ds. First D, dinner. Second D, dialogue. And the third D, together. Team, so important that to keep our culture alive, we need to allow our interaction. Now, if you've forgotten all of that, please go to our website, punch dinner into the search bar, and be amazed at all the wonderful videos and articles and research that's been done, not only on this topic, but on lots of other family matters topics that really are important to us. And having said all that, please share this with people you love, and let's keep it Pacifically correct. Ka whatailava, to whāsui fō.